Good evening, class. How you guys doing tonight? My name is Quantel Jackson, and I'm doing my YouTube submission video. And in this video, I will be doing a response to a TED Talk that I recently saw. This TED Talk is entitled Psychosis or Spiritual Awakening. I found this to be a very interesting video because it is not a very discussed topic in our culture of spiritual awakening, and in his video, he uses personal stories and anecdotes from very indigenous cultures that he's come across to give a contrast of how mental illnesses are diagnosed and how the spiritual journey in these indigenous peoples are invoked. And they seem to have very similar symptoms, and I feel pharmaceutical companies of our culture do more focusing on covering up of symptoms instead of finding the root. And this is very dangerous to the actual patient that is involved. It can isolate them, disenfranchise them, make them feel as if they are unfit to live in our civilization because they're crazy, they're on these meds, or these other different ways that it could possibly make people feel, in addition to them throwing away millions of dollars for these treatments and medications that may have been otherwise unwarranted. In this TED Talk, he begins talking about the indigenous people of Africa, and this particular story he talks about, he makes three main points. The main points being, number one, how closely dependent they are upon each other. The second point he goes on to make is the fact that they are very dependent on the earth. He even says that they would have the skill level compared to a PhD in that particular skill set. The third thing that he touches on is their connection to spirituality, which is a very important point because the journey to spirituality that in most of these cultures began with symptoms that are compared to many mental illnesses. Pharmaceutical companies make massive amounts of money off of these types of diagnoses. For example, schizophrenia has about 15 different medications that can be prescribed on top of the different treatment facilities that they have. So, for example, another example would be Pfizer, which is the leading global pharmaceutical company. They made $3.9 billion off of one drug alone. Although pharmaceutical companies are making these massive amounts of money, these people who are receiving these diagnoses are the ones who are ultimately suffering. The suffering these people have been enduring are even pursued legally in our culture today. For example, Johnson & Johnson, between the years of 1999 and 2006, were sued, and they were forced to settle for the mismarketing of their pharmaceuticals. They did not let the people know the proper health risks that were involved with this drug, and they were also encouraging doctors to prescribe Risperdal even for the unauthorized uses. The indigenous people can teach us a lot about our societal roles. There are a lot of social issues that we have that these people have overcome that has prevented them from ultimately becoming extinct, even though they are being pushed to the verge of extinction now. Thank you very much for listening to my spiel. It was very appreciated. Have a great night.